It was 6:45 in the morning. Olivia woke up and looked at the clock. Her heart started to race. "Oh no, my flight," she said loudly. She jumped out of bed and quickly got dressed. Her suitcase was ready by the door, but she felt like she forgot something. "My passport? Yes, here it is," she said to herself. She grabbed her phone and called a taxi. "Please send a taxi. I need to go to the airport fast." A few minutes later, the taxi stopped in front of her house. Olivia ran outside with her suitcase. "Where to?" the driver asked as he helped her put the suitcase in the car. "To the airport, please." "I'm in a hurry," Olivia said, still breathing heavily. The driver started the car and said, "You seem nervous. Are you coming back from a trip or going on one?" "I'm going on a trip," Olivia answered. "I have a flight to London." "Oh, London. A great city," the driver said with a smile. He paused for a moment, looked at her through the mirror and said, "Let me guess. Are you from Naples?" Olivia smiled. "No, I grew up in Sydney, but my father was born in Naples." The driver's eyes lit up. "Naples. Such a beautiful place. I visited once. Amazing food and warm people. Your father must have loved it there." "Yes, he always talked about it," Olivia said softly. As the taxi moved through the streets, Olivia looked out of the window, thinking about her trip. She felt both excited and nervous. The taxi stopped in front of the airport. Olivia got out quickly, pulling her suitcase behind her. "Good luck with your trip," the driver said as he waved goodbye. "Thank you," Olivia replied, hurrying inside. As she entered the airport, she looked around. It was big and full of people. Some were walking fast and others were sitting with their bags. Olivia saw a large screen with flights listed on it. "My flight, London, Gate 12, she said, reading the screen. She then checked her boarding pass. "Check in at counter 5, she whispered to herself. She walked to counter 5, where an airline staff member stood behind a computer. "Good morning. May I see your passport and ticket?" the woman asked with a smile. "Of course," Olivia said, handing them over. The woman typed on her computer and said, "You're flying to London. Do you have any bags to check in?" "Yes, just this one," Olivia replied, pointing to her suitcase. The woman took the suitcase and put it on the weighing machine. She then printed a luggage tag and attached it to the suitcase. "Your bag is good to go. Here's your boarding pass. Your gate is number 12 and boarding starts at 9:15, the woman explained. "Thank you," Olivia said, taking her passport and boarding pass. Next, Olivia went to the security check. She placed her handbag, phone, and shoes in a tray and walked through the scanner. The machine beeped. "Oh no," Olivia thought nervously. "Don't worry, miss," a security officer said. "It's just your watch. Please take it off and try again." Olivia smiled and did as he said. This time, she passed without any problems. After security, Olivia followed the signs to find her gate. There were arrows and numbers on the walls, and she checked her boarding pass often to make sure she was going the right way. "Gate 12. Straight ahead," she said, walking quickly. When she reached Gate 12, many people were already sitting and waiting. Olivia found a chair and took a deep breath. "Okay, I made it. Now just wait for boarding," she thought. At 9:15, an announcement came over the speakers. Flight to London, now boarding at gate 12. Please have your passport and boarding pass ready. Olivia got in line. When it was her turn, the staff member scanned her boarding pass and checked her passport. Enjoy your flight, the staff member said cheerfully. Thank you, Olivia replied, stepping into the tunnel leading to the plane. Inside the plane, Olivia found her seat, 14A, by the window. She put her handbag under the seat and sat down. Finally, she thought. She looked out of the window and saw the runway. The plane began to fill with passengers. Soon, the flight attendants walked through the aisle, checking seatbelts. Please fasten your seatbelt and make sure your seat is upright, one of them said. Olivia did as she was told. As the plane started to move, Olivia felt the excitement and nerves growing inside her. Next stop, London, she whispered, smiling. The flight was smooth, and after about 2 hours, Olivia heard the captain's voice over the speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We are beginning our descent into London Heathrow Airport. The local time is 11:30 a.m., and the weather is partly cloudy with a temperature of 15 degrees Celsius. Please fasten your seatbelts and prepare for landing. Thank you for flying with us. Olivia looked out of the window. She could see the green fields and the buildings of London as the plane got closer to the ground. Her heart was beating with excitement. I'm really here, she thought. The plane landed smoothly, and the passengers clapped softly. The captain spoke again. Welcome to London. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened until we arrive at the gate. Thank you, and enjoy your stay. When the plane stopped, Olivia unbuckled her seatbelt, stood up, and grabbed her handbag. She followed the other passengers off the plane and into the airport. She walked through the long hallways, following signs that said, baggage claim. After a few minutes, she arrived at the baggage carousel. There were many suitcases going around, and Olivia kept her eyes on them. There it is, she said when she saw her black suitcase. She grabbed it quickly and placed it on the ground. Next, Olivia followed the signs to exit and taxi stand. The airport was very busy, with people speaking different languages. She finally reached the taxi area and got in line. Where to, miss? The taxi driver asked as she got into the cab. To the Greenway Hotel, please, Olivia said. Sure thing. That's in central London. It will take about 40 minutes, the driver said as he started the car. During the ride, Olivia looked out of the window. The city was lively, with red buses, black taxis, and people walking everywhere. She felt excited, but also a little tired from the journey. Finally, the taxi stopped in front of a beautiful old building with a sign that said, The Greenway Hotel. Here we are, the driver said. Thank you, Olivia replied, paying the fare and stepping out with her suitcase. Inside the hotel, the lobby was elegant, with soft lighting and comfortable chairs. Olivia walked to the reception desk, where a friendly receptionist greeted her. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Greenway Hotel. Do you have a reservation? Yes, I do. The name is Olivia Carter, she said, handing over her ID. The receptionist checked the computer. Ah, yes, Miss Carter. You've booked a single room for one night. Here is your key card. Your room is on the 3rd floor, room 305. The elevator is to your left. Thank you very much, Olivia said. She took her suitcase and went to the elevator. When she reached her room, she opened the door and smiled. The room was cozy, with a large bed, a desk, and a window with a view of the street below. Olivia sat on the bed and let out a deep breath. Finally, I can rest, but tomorrow is the big day. She couldn't stop thinking about the meeting she had planned. The next morning, Olivia woke up feeling nervous. Today was the day she would meet Matthew. She had waited weeks for this moment. She chose a simple but elegant dress, fixed her hair, and added a little makeup. I hope this goes well, she thought, looking at herself in the mirror. Before the meeting, Olivia decided to spend her day exploring the city. She visited a park, walked along the river, and admired the historic buildings. At lunchtime, she found a small cafe where she enjoyed a sandwich and tea. As the evening approached, Olivia's heart began to race. She arrived at the fancy restaurant Matthew had chosen. The place was beautiful, with candles on the tables and soft music playing in the background. Olivia sat at a table near the window, where she could see the lights of the city. She checked her watch. Matthew was late. Maybe he's stuck in traffic, she thought, trying to calm herself. She waited, her hands clutching her phone. 10 minutes passed, then 20. She checked her messages, nothing. She called Matthew, but he didn't answer. Olivia felt a lump in her throat. Why isn't he answering? Did something happen? She wondered, her anxiety growing. Just as she decided to leave, she felt a hand on her shoulder. She turned around and saw Matthew, breathing heavily as if he had been running. Olivia, I'm so sorry I'm late, he said, his face full of worry. Olivia stared at him, unsure of what to say. You're here, she finally said, sitting back down. Her voice was calm, but inside, she felt upset. Matthew sat across from her, his eyes full of guilt. Please let me explain, he said. Olivia nodded silently, folding her hands on the table. After a brief moment of silence, a waiter came to take their order. Olivia chose a simple pasta dish and Matthew ordered steak. Once the waiter left, Olivia spoke. Matthew, what happened? Why were you so late? And why didn't you call me? Matthew sighed deeply. Olivia, there's something I need to tell you. It's not easy, but you deserve the truth. Olivia's heart sank. What is it? She asked, her voice shaking slightly. Matthew looked down for a moment, then back at her. I never lied to you, but there's something I didn't tell you. I'm still married. My wife and I are going through a separation, but it's complicated. We've had many problems, and today, something unexpected happened. That's why I was late. Olivia's eyes widened. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. You're married? She said, her voice rising slightly. Yes, but we're not together anymore, Matthew said quickly. I didn't mean to hurt you. I really care about you, Olivia. That's why I wanted to meet you. Olivia shook her head, her emotions a mix of anger and sadness. Matthew, you should have told me from the beginning. This is wrong. You invited me here knowing this, and now you're telling me after I've waited for you, feeling nervous and excited? I know, and I'm sorry, Matthew said, his voice pleading. But I care about you. I didn't want to lose the chance to know you better. Olivia took a deep breath. Matthew, I can't do this. I can't be part of your messy life. You need to sort things out first. This isn't fair to me. Matthew tried to explain more, talking about how much he liked her and how things could work between them, but Olivia had made up her mind. I'm sorry, Matthew. Goodbye, she said, standing up. Olivia, wait, Matthew said, but she was already walking away. Back at the hotel, Olivia felt drained. She opened the door to her room, and there, on the small table, was a large bouquet of flowers. A card was attached to it. She opened the card, and it read, "For Olivia, we'll see each other soon." Her heart skipped a beat. Who sent this? Could it be Matthew? Or was it someone else? Olivia sat on the bed, staring at the flowers. She didn't know what to think, but one thing was certain: her trip to London had taken a very unexpected turn. The next morning, Olivia woke up feeling surprisingly light. The events with Matthew no longer felt as painful. In fact, she felt relieved. She realized how close she had come to making a mistake. What if I had gotten more involved with him? She thought. What if things had gone terribly wrong? I'm lucky to be free of it. Determined to enjoy the rest of her time in London, Olivia decided to leave the past behind. She spent her days visiting famous landmarks like the Tower of London, Buckingham Palace, and the British Museum. She even tried traditional fish and chips at a charming little pub. Each evening, she called her best friend, Emily, back home. Olivia shared everything about her trip, from the disappointment with Matthew to the joy of discovering London's beauty. Emily was supportive and thrilled that Olivia was moving on. That's the Olivia I know, Emily said over the phone. You always find the silver lining. Enjoy your trip and forget about him. You deserve so much better. On her final night in London, Olivia returned to her hotel feeling nostalgic. As she packed her suitcase, her thoughts drifted back to the bouquet of flowers. She still didn't know who had sent them. What a strange trip this has been, she whispered to herself. Suddenly, her phone rang. It was the reception desk. Miss Olivia, you have a visitor in the lobby, the receptionist said politely. A visitor? At this hour? Olivia asked, puzzled. Yes, ma'am. He says it's urgent, the receptionist replied. Curious, Olivia quickly put on a sweater and went downstairs. As she entered the lobby, her eyes scanned the room. Then she saw him, a man with broad shoulders, salt and pepper hair, and a warm smile. It took her a moment to recognize him. Joseph, she said, her voice filled with surprise. Yes, it's me, he said, smiling. It's been a long time, Olivia. Olivia's mind raced. Joseph was an old friend she hadn't seen in years. They had grown up in the same neighborhood and shared many memories, but life had taken them in different directions. I almost didn't recognize you, Olivia said, laughing. You've changed so much. Joseph chuckled. And you haven't changed at all. Still the same Olivia. They sat down in the cozy lounge area of the hotel. Olivia couldn't stop smiling. She was curious about how he had found her. How did you know I was here? She asked. Joseph leaned back in his chair. Emily told me. She thought you might need some cheering up after everything. I've been in London for a few weeks on business, and I thought, why not surprise you? Olivia shook her head in disbelief. This is such a surprise. I can't believe you're here. They spent hours talking about old times, school days, family trips, and the silly things they used to do. Olivia felt like she was 20 years old again, laughing and sharing stories with someone who truly understood her. As they talked, Olivia couldn't help but notice how much Joseph had matured. His confident demeanor and kind eyes made her feel at ease. She had always thought of him as a friend, but now something felt different. When the conversation turned to her recent experience with Matthew, Joseph listened intently. "I'm glad you walked away from that situation," he said firmly. "You deserve someone who's honest and values you." Olivia nodded, feeling a sense of comfort in his words. Before they knew it, it was close to midnight. Olivia had an early flight the next morning, but she didn't want the night to end. "Joseph, I leave tomorrow, but I'd love to spend more time with you," she said. Joseph smiled. "Let's make the most of tonight then. We can grab a late-night coffee or take a walk by the river." They decided on a quiet cafe nearby where they continued their conversation. For Olivia, the night felt magical, like a fresh start after the chaos of the past few days. As they said goodbye at the hotel entrance, Olivia felt a warmth in her heart. Meeting Joseph again was unexpected, but it felt like a blessing. The next morning, as she boarded her flight home, Olivia looked out the window with a small smile. She felt ready to move forward, with new memories of London and the promise of rekindled friendships. Maybe this trip was exactly what I needed, she thought. And as the plane rose into the sky, she couldn't help but wonder what surprises life would bring next.